The Jim and Terry Show coming to you from Starbase Boca Chica.
Yeah, here we are. What a beautiful temperature down here, too.
It's balmy.
Yeah, right. We're down here. Sure,
we're in the Hobbit hole, but we are covering the integrated flight test number 3.
And the coverage was so good, you could feel the heat almost off of those.
I felt the chairs vibrating.
It was glorious.
Max Q.
You poor people that aren't interested in it, sorry, don't be offended when I said that, but it was absolutely, if you ever wanted shots from space of re-entry of the plasma and everything, there was actual cameras. There was an actual camera inside the spaceship, and I got to point out, it's bigger than the 747, opening its hatch and shutting its hatch. There was shots of that.
But we don't know that it shut it.
Okay, but there was shots. Inside the ship.
Someone was shot.
Inside the ship. It looks like the launch pad survived, but everybody but Felix's cameras got destroyed. It's just such a powerful rocket.
First impressions, but let's go on to the details, because on the previous podcast, the one that was saying up, and away, and you sang it, we were talking about the integrated flight test coming up, and lo and behold, if you didn't predict that was actually right. I did not know the date, but you came last week and said, I think it's on Thursday.
And
we said, well, if it's on Thursday,
we're going to get together.
The windows began at 6 or 7 or something in the morning. Jim got here by 8 this morning.
8,
so we watched a little bit of what would be called the pregame.
We had coffee and pancakes and popcorn.
Brought back down to our Hobbit hole so we could catch everything and see.
3 screens of 3 different broadcasts.
Right. So on your left, NASA space flight. I think I put a link in the description of the previous podcast. Yeah. And then in the middle screen, one of our favorite guys, because he's just so excited about everything. Felix. Yes.
What About It?
Felix from What About It? And then on this screen, we got the live feed from SpaceX itself on the left-hand monitor. All right, so from right to left, NASA space flight, What About It, and SpaceX. And we did have Tim Dodd.
Everyday astronaut.
Everyday astronaut.
He was also,
and I put a link to all those 3.
Oh,
so if you can catch the wave of excitement that Jim and I feel when we watch these stunning,
exciting.
These are just test flights.
Yeah, well, they weren't meant to end pretty. They were all like
they weren't designed to fail, but they were expected.
They weren't designed to recover.
Right.
And the greatest success, of course, is getting that sucker into space, which it looked almost easy that did that this time. 33 engines blasting away. Yeah. And it went into and then the Starship separated from the booster.
Using the hot burn.
And the hot burn worked perfectly, and off everything went.
And wasn't that a great image to see from the Starship looking back? No, that was from the booster looking back, and you saw the Starship zooming up into
took off so fast. Like it's, we thought we were watching.
We thought it was the booster.
We thought we were on the Starship.
Yes, but we weren't.
We were on the booster watching the stars, saying goodbye to the Starship, because it had flipped at this point. Yeah. And it's off into space, and we're coming back on the booster back to Earth. And beautiful camera work, high definition cameras. So, and there's a picture on the screen right now of the
interior
bay door, the interior door of the ship opening up, and it's hard to get your head around there. You can see the brightness of the Earth shining through the hatch as this. Now, this hatch is big enough to dispense a 1 ton at least satellite in Pez dispenser form. So there was nothing on board. They just wanted to test the hatch, I guess, to see if it could handle all the pressures.
Now, those Starlink 2.0 satellites that it will eventually dispense are racked 2 up on each level. So they go up 2, it moves up like a Pez dispenser, and the next
or down,
2 go
or
up.
down.
Or whichever way it's loaded. I don't know the configuration, but we did see them testing it to see. It's like a Pez. I don't know whether it's spring-loaded. I guess not, but hydraulic command or something.
I don't know.
But they did it. They got it open. We didn't see them shut it.
Well, yeah. They had a little bit of broadcasting interference, which is something they're working on. But we've had shots that have never been seen before. like when the Starship was re-entering into the Earth's atmosphere and the heat tiles were heating up and the
Starting to
plasma was
glow.
flying, plasma was going across. Oh, it was incredible.
When did we
and the
start
flaps moving through the fire.
Oh, we didn't know that the camera was on the flap, so we wondered what
it was making me
the heck
sick
kind of-
almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just imagine being a pilot on one of those things doing the test flights. Yeah, so a lot of things to celebrate. So on our original podcast a week ago, we had predictions on how far would it get. And the design was for the booster to come back into the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah.
And for the spaceship, the Starship, to go all the way to somewhere off the coast of Australia.
Yeah, Indian Ocean.
In the Indian Ocean. So what we don't know is the condition of both ships, both parts, when they did whatever they were doing in terms of self-destructing.
Well, to be fair, and this whole program was totally successful. There was other things they were hoping to be able to achieve, but they had to. The main goal, I think, was what we've seen. The main goal was to get into space,
and they did.
And it did. It went.
And it was the fastest they had traveled.
Well, 27,000 kilometers an hour, and 5 kilometers a second. That's fast.
That's very fast.
And the booster coming back, you could see the one activator flipping back and forth trying to compensate because obviously one failed.
Yeah, they think they lost it.
And so that booster, and it looked like there was only one engine fired, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it just plummeted into they were going to lose it into the Gulf of Mexico anyways.
Yes.
But this time it would have plummeted in. And I wonder if anybody's got any pictures of that sucker coming down.
Whatever speed that was going, because
I think it was 1,200 kilometers an hour.
It was only one engine lit.
One engine lit,
three,
couldn't
so
slow
it's
it down
coming
enough.
pretty fast.
And then the Starship, they think they lost it premature, the desired destination. They're pretty sure of that. But they have to wait for the data to come in because part of the problem is the plasma cuts out the signal.
Mm-hmm.
So at, I don't know, 26,000 kilometers an hour, all of a sudden everything froze and they lost their feed to do two different things. So that would have been probably the middle of the Indian Ocean.
Now, at that point, when we lost the signal, it doesn't mean the ship's not intact. It just means the plasma's enveloped the ship and we can't get a signal out.
That's right. So they don't know how far it went.
That's right, because we never got it reestablished.
Yeah. Nobody on board, by the way, everybody. No humans on board.
All right. It'll be a while before we get people on top.
I think Elon Musk said probably 100 flights before a human will be on.
Okay, so that's 98 bottles of beer in the wall. No, 97.
Well, he's got
integrated flight test 3.
He's got another launch pad he's building here. He's got this launch pad, which is like a building. You got to understand this, 40-story high building, and he's got one in down in Florida at the Kennedy Space Center, along with another one I think they're thinking of building.
Yeah, I heard they were purchasing some other defunct launch facility.
And all this is after 3 more launches, probably there's going to be actually a bigger Starship on top, which this is getting nuts. Because this is a ship, folks, that, well, it'd be like watching a 747 flying in to an airport. They're huge. Now this one's going to be even bigger.
That's the Starship portion?
Just the top part.
Unbelievable.
And yeah, it's gigantic. It could take, well, they're looking to be able to launch 100 astronauts. But that means that's astronauts and, all the configuration an astronaut has to be in. I'm assuming they'll be able to do a lot more than that, even if they wanted to just fly it from United States to Italy or something. Probably get 300 in there.
I keep forgetting. You keep reminding me that these are designed to be hyper velocity passenger planes.
Yep,
replacing
troop
across
employment,
the Atlantic.
Troop deployment and supplies.
Right, because it's going at suborbital velocities, hypersonic velocities.
Yeah, you could pretty well get absolutely safe bet anywhere in the world in an hour.
Unbelievable.
So if you needed to have special troops, forces go into some parts of the world, you could get them there that quick. Or if you needed to get supplies or ammunition or whatever.
Now, are they going to need to build these integrated launch towers
I'm guessing they will to make it all work properly. I'm thinking they will.
Well, I think this one's holding up very well after all the launches so far.
Well, you see things we forget to realize. You see that little thing where the rocket sits on? That's 80 feet off the ground.
And how far below the ground? Remember when they were excavating
100 feet.
and pile driving
I think
that?
it's more than 100 feet below the ground.
Something like the tip of an iceberg where 2/3 is below ground, 1/3 above.
Yeah.
Something like that.
It's just amazing to see what happened.
It is. So while we were talking, we are looking at the What About It post-game analysis. Felix is very excited and very animated, and that's what space exploration is all about, catching the vision, catching the dream. So we hope our ones and twos catch a vision for the technology, the engineering, the thousands of workers working like little ants at times because you could see them. Because this is an open site. You can go and use your camera and you can photograph stuff all the time, 24/7. I think some of these people have cameras operating. Through the night, this is a 24/7 construction site.
Yes, employing, I don't know how many, thousands.
Thousands.
Yeah. And the beauty of this thing is, and the sadness at the same time is, when Falcon 9 first landed, that was just unbelievable. A rocket came back.
Yes.
A rocket came back. Now the whole company's only been around 20 years.
Yeah, we saw a photograph from the 2002.
Something like that.
What a great one. The mariachi band with Elon Musk with his shakers.
Yeah. It's going to be as routine as the Falcon 9 taking off and landing. The Starship's going to be taking off and landing.
Do you still watch a Falcon 9 return? Every once in a while I do, just to say.
No, and then when it returns, it's incredible. Because it was something they said could not be done.
Well, you saw the size of the legs having to be deployed and hold the mass of the rocket and land on the circle on a barge.
Out in the water.
Out in the water.
And I saw the double landing
of... the first time they did a Falcon 9. Or a Falcon Heavy. Or
it was super heavy. No, Falcon Heavy.
Where they had the two
Falcon
boosters
Heavy.
On the side.
Yeah.
And each one returned.
Uh-huh.
Unbelievable.
And so it's amazing to me to see what's happening. This is the future of space for now. For those who are frustrated that we need to find another way to do it, we don't have another way to do it. This is it for now. And you have to be grateful for people like Elon Musk putting the effort in to make this thing happen and the billions of dollars to do it.
And government subsidies are in there too. So let's not forget taxpayer money goes in to subsidize this stuff. And NASA is publicly funded as well. So lots to celebrate. Maybe we'll do a second podcast to talk about a Canadian connection to space travel. And we'll get there on the next podcast. The Jim and Terry Show. Up and away. IFT3.
Up and away.
Bye-bye for now.
Beautiful.